course, them always tell the early bird catch the most worm, but me never catch no worm. No worm at all. It is through sharing our experiences and listening to the experience of others that we connect with each other and recognize that though lonely the road of life may appear, we are truly not alone.
As we connect through our experiences, in a way, we offer support and inspiration to those on a similar journey to the ones we have traveled and continue to trod.
Welcome to Lived Experiences with Nadz and Shuga, where we share the experiences of ourselves and those of our guests. Through these stories, we hope to connect, support, and inspire.
Work and travel. So the process was tedious. But Nardia, you started the process too.
All right, fine. I'll go first. I started before. So when I was going into
Second year.
Second year, yes.
No,
sir.
it's not
Yes,
third
correct.
year. Yeah.
It's second year, right?
Second year.
When
It's
I was
when
in
COVID
second year, I started the process.
last. Yes.
Right. True. Yes. So when I was in second year, October, just started second year, I started the process to do access to work and travel program. No, the program cost $1,600. The program $1,600. Of course, there are other things that I would have to take care of that
It's
would
like plane fare, visa.
cost me a lot more. So everything was going good, and of course we never have no ideas that COVID gonna come in, right? So even though we heard about it, I think by December we would have heard about China and so on. Still going through with the process. I would have already paid my money. I guess we thought, okay, it's at China and not touch we good, right? They're far from we. Can't even fathom how far China is. So we continued with the process, and of course I was trying to be as early as possible. So what I did, I paid my money early because I wanted to get a place. I just wanted to get the process. I'm dealing with school. I did an agency in Kingston because my cousin was in Kingston. He was also going on a program, so we could do it together. So I decided to go with a Kingston program. There are moments I had to go up to sort out certain things. So I wanted to get the process going as quickly as possible. Of course, them always tell the early bird catch the most worm, but me never catch no worm at all. I was very early and it didn't work out.
There were no one who catch worm that year, so don't feel any way.
Well, let me tell you why I said that. No, I would have paid the money early. I paid the part of the plane fare. I also did. I paid a part of it, which I received. I would have gotten that back because we didn't purchase the ticket, so I would have gotten it back from the agency. But I paid the $25,000 to go to the embassy. No, I did this process, got my days form and everything, and this is an additional 25 from the 1,600, right? So I did that, went to the embassy, got through and everything in March. I got through before. I went to the embassy on the 6th of March. So everything was working out. And then shortly after, COVID touched. Yes. And I'll tell you why I used to talk about the early bird catching most worm scenario and it didn't work out. By being early, because I had to cancel the program. I didn't bother to go on the program. Because I was early, I would have lost the embassy money because the visa would have only lasted for the period of May until I think the 7th of September, right? So it was a waste. I didn't get anything from it. And then also because I would have received the DS form and so far in the process, when I canceled the program, I lost. If you didn't receive the DS form, I would have only lost $350 US. Because I received the DS form, I lost $450 US. So the earliness never worked out, right? Persons who canceled, yes, they lost for sure. But because I was so early in terms of the DS form and everything, and the embassy, I lost the embassy money, everything. All of that just didn't go as planned at all, right? So it was a very rough process. And a part of my bias would not encourage someone to go on it, but I'm not going to say that because guess what? I've heard a lot of success stories.
Yeah.
So outside of COVID, I've heard so many persons who said they have been successful, they were able to pay their tuition when they got back and they had money left over and so on. So of course, if you calculate it and it's something you want to explore, perhaps outside of COVID, that's on you. If you're willing to go in COVID time, then that's also on you.
Yes, and it's mainly, this is what they tell us, it's for a cultural experience. So not necessarily to gain funds. So that's not the first thing. Well, like,
but let us be honest. Let us
yes, but people gonna put the money. That's
honest
true.
with self.
That
it
is
is for
true.
it's a cultural exchange program. But what percentage of the students go primarily for a cultural exchange? Think about it. It's a little better way we are looking now. It's a little better way we are looking. Yes, sure, I would want to travel and learn about new things and see new people, meet new people. Sure, so the cultural exchange will be very important there. But primarily, I'm going because more help out with a little tuition and to finance myself going to school, because even though I got the scholarship, I got the scholarship. Well, I found out in October. By the time I would have started the process that I received the scholarship, I, of course, I still had to travel because COVID never come in. I still had to travel.
Plan, basically.
Right. There are still things I needed to do.
Well, with my experience, first off, the reason why I got so much finance, or I applied to so much entities, is because I was a part-time student. So when you're part-time, if they are helping you to finance your tuition, it's not a lot. It's $80, $50, or probably $100,000, and that still doesn't cover your full tuition, right? So one of the reasons to change into full-time was to actually get
access greater funding,
as well as to, get the opportunity to come on the work and travel. Because had I not been a full-time student, I wouldn't have this opportunity to be here, because I'm currently now on the work and travel program, right?
It's only full-time students that are allowed?
Yes, only full-time students.
Okay.
So if you're not full-time, that's the first requirement actually for you to be a full-time student. So that's one of the reasons we changed, to actually get the opportunity to do a number of these things, to get better financing and to seize opportunity like this. So we're still we're still experiencing Corona. So since Nardia's time, the embassy had closed their doors to J1 students and recently opened it. Now, I was to travel from May, but I came now in June, right? Well, not June, actually, July. So 2 months after. 2 months after. It's not really a lot of time to make back the funds, because my program fee was a little cheaper, but there are other costs that, basically surpassed the $1,600.
Right.
For instance, the visa, your plane fare, civics, because that was charged separately from the $1,200 program fee.
And another thing too, some persons you have to pay a deposit of your rental or your full month's rental before you get to the place.
I did that. I had to pay my first month rent. So
you're looking at like $500 and something right there for rent alone, because the rent is usually $100 and something.
This is not a bias, but it's actually a smart thing. If you have to borrow all these monies to go in a time like this, I would recommend against it, because being here now 2 months, it means that I might not make the money that I spent to come here, right?
And
it's
not
okay
only
for
borrow,
me, though,
it depends.
honestly, because for the experience, I'm loving it.
I'll have to say that not only borrow. So for example, you borrowed from a family member and you're able to make it back and at least give it back to them. Do not borrow from someone who wants you to pay an interest on it, because you're not sure.
Because a lot of sure. 40% and 40% is a lot.
Is a whole lot. So be careful. You will not be okay. There are persons who would have made it for sure, but under these conditions, you may not make it. And even though persons would have made it and the conditions are different, You don't know what your tolerance level is. It's a new environment. You don't know what you'll be able to deal with. You don't know if you'll be able to juggle the 2 jobs because your body can't manage it right away. You don't know. So I would not advise anybody to borrow the money, especially if interest would be up. I wouldn't encourage it. Certainly not. But it's on you. It's up to us to calculate. We can't tell you what we know or what we've experienced, but it's up to you, every individual, to calculate and make the decision for him or herself.
But if you're successful, or if you decide to still proceed, like for instance, as Nardia said, if you're borrowing the funds from a family member, that's better because you're not paying back with interest, right? If
or we hope you're not paying back with interest.
Yeah, we hope.
Yes.
The experience is actually amazing. I have interacted with a number of countries, like my roomies are Dominicans, Romanians, and stuff. So I get to practice my language, and I love languages. So it's really, really a great experience.
I must say that's why she was absent. That's why she was absent. She was there practicing her languages.
Well, that's part of it, but
the environment can be different, so you have to give persons a little time to adjust. Right?
Well, thank you for winging it, my partner. You're awesome. You did great.
Thanks. No problem.